So let's take a closer look at English ethnic identity. One of the most persistent ideas about the English is that they descend from northern Europeans who made this island their home back in the so-called Dark Ages. The Anglo Saxons. It's a potent idea. It shapes the thinking of nationalist parties and many besides. But how true is it? The traditional story is that Englishness was brought by invaders when the Roman Empire collapsed. Germanic tribes swept into the country: Angles, Saxons, Jutes. They pushed out the previous peoples of these islands, the original Britons, into what are now Wales and Scotland. On that basis, the ancestors of the English would be the Anglo Saxons. And in the 21st century, we now have the science to discover if that is true. I'm taking a DNA test to find out about the genetic makeup of my ancestors. And I'm going to look at the results with a man who's used DNA to trace the origins of the British. Stephen Oppenheimer first explained how his research works.
There are two particular parts of our genome which are very useful for this approach. One of those parts is the Y chromosome, which only males have and is passed down the male line, and the other is mitochondrial DNA, which we all have, but is passed down the female line. So that's very neat. You've got two parts of our genome, which gives us a male line of descent, and the other gives us a female line of descent.
Well, I've had a DNA test, and what does that tell you about my origins?
Well, if we take the Y chromosome to start off with, which you get from your father, it originates in northern Spain, in the Basque Country, during the Ice Age, which was 18,000 years ago. And you can see, and this is actually a map showing the distribution of the type that you have.
Yeah.
And it's extremely common along the Atlantic coast. In fact, it's the commonest single type. And it arrives in Britain just under 10,000 years ago.
Right. Well, you've told me about one average strand. Well, what about the other one?
That's just as average.
Oh.
In fact, it's very similar in its prehistory.
Okay.
And again, the distribution of this is very similar to your Y chromosome.
Right.
The origin is in northern Spain in the Basque Country, and it moves up the Atlantic coast into Britain. It arrives rather similarly to your Y chromosome just under 10,000 years ago.
Well, so you're basically telling me I'm pretty average.
Mr. Average. but that's a very good illustration that a lot of people will have that sort of picture.
Yes, and the picture is quite a surprising one. We started in northern Spain, then we were up here. What's going on here?
The ice started melting about 15,500 years ago, and quite a few people moved up into northern Europe, although it was still pretty cold, from refuges along the north coast of the Mediterranean. And for Western Europe, the main refuge was in the Basque Country.
So this is nothing like the story of Anglo Saxon England and its invasion. It's much older.
Yes, and the Anglo Saxon contribution, in my analysis, is only 5% for the whole of England.
5% contribution of the Anglo Saxons to the supposed English.
That's right. And the English are much closer to the Welsh, the Irish, the Cornish, and the Scottish than they are to any other continental population. And this idea of the English coming in as a race, or the Anglo-Saxons coming in as a race, really just doesn't hold up in the genetic view.